Hey everybody, welcome back to Just JK. Hooray! No.
I am the undead incarnation, Elizabeth Bathory.
The boys will drop dead, thanks to me.
Hey everybody, guess where I'm at? I'm at WonderCon!
Somebody has stolen my father's horse. Who could have done this, huh?
What are you having, stud?
What? You know how much I like to strangle.
We don't have time to indulge in
And we are live. Hello, everybody. This is Debuffed Out of the Box, and tonight we are interviewing Jennifer Kairis. And she's a lovely lady in the upper right. We have a vein in the lower left, lower center. She is in the center. And it's me, Cannon, here in the upper left. Hello, or am I the upper right? Anyway. So, like I said, in the upper right, we have Jennifer here. She is going to be hosting a show for Grievance starting October 15th called Fan Fanatics, starting 7 Central. Woo! Thank you, ma'am.
Hey.
She going to let her tell us a little about herself. She just going to want to say, she says she's geeky or nerdy, but let's see how she fits in with Grievance crowd. So, ma'am, please tell us about yourself.
How's everybody doing today? I'm doing great. Let me see. I don't know what to say about it. It's me. It's Jennifer. I'm a girl that plays video games and I like to cosplay and yeah. Good night. Just kidding.
Too short. Lengthen it out.
Much.
Lengthen it out.
Yeah. No, I live here in Los Angeles. I came out here to be an actress, so I still do acting. I got back into my cosplay and I've always played video games, so now getting back into that. Yeah, I'm just a geeky guy. I've got my Avengers shirt on, you know, to represent. Woo!
Woo!
Very nice.
Yeah, so there it is.
There
What
it is. What else is there? Yes.
Jennifer, how long have you been cosplaying?
I've been cosplaying, well, recently a couple years. When I say I got back into cosplaying, I lived in Japan when I was middle school years, so I was about 10 years old to 18. I lived out there and I learned how to cosplay out there, where it all started. I used to cosplay with my friends, but it was just for fun. It was never anything like super serious. A lot of times the costumes were terrible, but you know, we were just there to have fun. So when I moved back to the States, you know, I guess when I moved back to the States, it really wasn't quite as open as it is now with all like the, you know, the gaining momentum cosplay is getting. So a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I was like, you know, I really miss doing that. I miss being creative, making my costumes. I've always loved Halloween. So like Halloween was like my time to be like, I'm going to wear like 30 different costumes as I could. So eventually I just kind of got back into cosplaying by going back to conventions and then making the costumes and, you know, and I just figured the time was right and I just kind of set up, I realized other girls were setting up Facebook pages and I don't know why I was so late making mine, but I did. I'm not very good with social media yet, but I'm getting better at it. So I recently put up a Facebook page and just started putting, you know, more recent shoots up and stuff like that. And every now and then I'll throw in like my terrible costumes from back in the day here and there, but you know.
Oh goodness, I'd love to see some of those.
How did you end up in Japan? That's you know, that's what sticks out. That's Japan.
Yeah, my father was military, so
Okay.
I wish it was more elaborate than that. Like a magical unicorn took me across the sea, but
She's
yeah,
crazy
my
too.
father was military, and he met my mom out there, and they got married, and they left, and then his tour of duty took him back to Japan. So that's how we ended up there at a young age and just ended up living there for so long because, I mean, my family really loved it out there. It's really amazing. Beautiful country.
That's
I've heard
cool.
it's beautiful. Someplace I always want to go. So,
Yeah, please do. It's great.
so what kind of cosplayer do you consider yourself?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, when I first started doing it, it was like the the odd and unusual, like creepy, like I have the steampunk treasure cat. Like I wanted to make it
Oh,
different.
that's cool.
Yeah, from all the others, but I felt like people weren't really quite getting it. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but so I started doing maybe a little bit more mainstream stuff. Like throw in a little like superhero, or like I'm working on Psylocke right now, just to try and mix up all, the different kinds of cosplays. Because, there's like the girls who do like strictly sexy ones, and then there's girls who are strictly anime, and I don't really want to just label myself out because there's just so much to do. Like, why label yourself? Then you're in like a little,
So you really try and encompass like every genre. That's really cool.
yeah. Like I like video games. I love to read comic books. I love to read manga. Like, so for me, it just opens up more stuff to create and more costumes to make. If I'm, if you just consider yourself, say, oh, I only want to do comic books or something, then there's only so many that you can do without repeating.
It really limits you.
Yeah, you have to kind of reinvent another costume that's something you've already done. Where this is like, where I just want to do everything. I want to look, really kick-ass in one costume and then look really sweet and cute in the next, and then or sexy in one, and then just like very, normal. Like the Link photos that I did, I wanted to go traditional Link. Like I've seen girls do a sexy, like more fitted, green tunic, where I'm like, oh, I'll just go, how it would be if he were wearing it. So I did. I didn't go too sexy on that. I just put my hair in some pigtails and some makeup and, covered. So.
Cool.
Yeah, let's, hey, Dash, can you throw up that picture there for these folks of her in the Link outfit? He's our producer behind the scenes, folks.
Oh.
There she is, looking all
awesome.
blinked out. That is pretty cool. I love it. Where'd you get the sword and the ears? Where'd you get the ears?
Well, the ears you can buy. Like being in Los Angeles, you definitely have, a lot of access to really cool stuff, movies, props, all that kind of stuff. So I was able to just buy the ears, and the sword, because I do a lot of sword fighting, I was able to borrow from a friend for the shoot. So
That's awesome.
Hey, can I borrow your sword? What are you going to do with it? Nothing.
Only if you know how to use it correctly.
There you
Oh.
Safety
You don't
first.
just whip it around, huh?
Yeah, you just don't wave around
Yeah.
sticking people with it.
I wouldn't be very good at swordplay then. What do I do with it? Give me a lightsaber, though. I don't know what to tell you what to do with a lightsaber.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, I got one of the questions here that was put to me was cosplay or crossplay. But what's the difference between the two? Do you know?
Well, cosplay is simply, when you break it down, is costume play. So anytime you want to put on a costume and you're being the character and you're taking photos, or you're at a Comic-Con, you're cosplaying. You're embodying another person, character, and you're that person. I guess crossplay, or I know some people do like cross-gender cosplay, is basically when a girl takes a male character and turns it into a female. Like my Link would be
okay.
A crossplay, because it's at least that's what I've been told. I could be totally wrong, and someone's like, no, that's incorrect. As far as I know, yeah, that's what I would consider cross-playing, is like, just taking a character and turning it male or female. So
Like if
Okay.
I wanted to dress up as Han Solo for Halloween, that would be a crossplay.
yeah, you would cross-gender
Okay.
cosplay. Yeah. Which
You
you
gonna
should do. I agree with that.
Yeah. Are you going to make your husband into Chewbacca? I mean, this is completely off in right field now, but it'd be
He's
interesting to
pretty
see him.
small, So
Yeah, he'd do
actually,
it.
last year I totally threatened to dress up as a Jawa. So
That
Awesome.
little light up eyes.
yes. But instead, I
Oh.
dressed up as a disciple of Cain from Warhammer Online. So I've dabbled in this, but nowhere near as successfully as you. So this is really interesting to me.
Oh, well, don't worry. Everything's a learning process for me too. So,
What do you do for Halloween? Do you dress up, or is it just a plain Jane day?
What's funny is I haven't actually had time to do anything really Halloween, because I'm always working Halloween. Like right now, I'm currently doing Dark Harbor, which is the Halloween event here at Long Beach on the Queen Mary. So I play one of the lead villains, one of the main icons for Dark Harbor. So it's usually every year I always end up working. So my Halloweens, unfortunately, are busy working. But I guess to say, if I were to do Halloween, on the Halloween, I'd probably do like if I were to cosplay or dress up, it would definitely be like this creepiest, scariest costume I could possibly think of instead of doing
That's
like
awesome.
the typical, you know, I mean, I hate to say it, but girls, they dress. It's an excuse to wear not so
Practically
much
nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would do that, but like super creepy with like blood and skin coming off and, you know, guts
Yeah.
spilling out. Because, you know,
So what I'm hearing is you dress up as a zombie.
yeah, exactly. I've done that too.
Wow, that zombie's really hot. Oh, geez, I can't believe I just said that. I'll never watch The Walking Dead properly again. It'll be like, ooh.
Although I have seen those costumes advertised, you know, online and in stores. This sexy, I think it's like a schoolgirl type of zombie costume, and I'm like, really, guys? Yeah, it's like got the little mini schoolgirl skirt and white button-up T-shirt, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
That's
It's not
disturbing.
very original.
Yeah, I'm like, you can do any costume technically that's a zombie. I could be,
Right.
be Jennifer Kairis. I could just be dead. Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
Don't do that. We don't want that. Jeez.
No. Yeah.
All right, so
Huh?
go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, but I'll be busy this Halloween. I'll be working, so
Cool. Halloween's my birthday, so I love going all out. But
so lucky.
what was your first convention?
Oh my god. Probably my first convention, luckily enough, was E3. So
Oh,
I
cool.
really lucked out with that one. What happened? I was doing promotional modeling at the time before I kind of got back into cosplay, and I just happened to be working the event, and so I worked it 2 days, and then I made friends, and they're like, "Oh, if you just want to come back and walk around," and that's what I did. And I feel like maybe that's probably when I started being like, "Oh, I really miss dressing up. That was really fun to see all the other girls, guys, you know, in their video game outfits and." Girls walking around in their costumes, and I was just plainly dressed because it was nice to be asked to come back. But yeah,
So it
that was
just made
probably
you miss it.
Yeah, I really missed it.
Wow.
When I first started cosplaying, I was a little bit too young to go into conventions, so I was never able to go to anywhere in Japan or anything like that. So I had to wait till I was a bit older to get into those places.
Oh. What is your favorite cosplay subject matter? Is there some that stands out that you do more often than not?
Let me see. I'm trying to think of all this stuff. Not really. Well, I was gonna say video games, but I'm working on Psylocke, and then the one after that isn't a video. Yeah, I don't really have
Nothing
my
stands out
favorite
then.
genre. I can't, because it's like I did Elven Huntress. That's more of like World of Warcraft. Doing Psylocke, this video game. Vampire is just kind of that generic history cosplay. The Treasure Cat, I mean, that's storybook type
Yeah.
of. Yeah, so I
You're really all over the
Yoko,
board then.
that's anime, and yeah, so I can't really say which one I do more of because I've pretty much evenly done. You know, I do one and then I move on to another one. And I'm gonna let you guys in on this, but we
Uh-oh.
came up with the idea at Dark Harbor that I wanted to do a Beetlejuice photo shoot. So that's
Oh,
like
that would be cool.
yeah. So I think I'm gonna do that if I can get myself together, get my time organized enough so I can make this costume. But yeah, I'd really like to try and do that. So I really don't want to say that I do one type of genre or which one's my favorite because it changes. Like I want to do a Doctor Who one, that's television, and then I'll probably go back and do like a Black Cat, which is comic books again. You know, so there's a lot of different ones I have planned that's just not one genre. So it'll be
Okay.
yeah.
It's really
That
cool
is
that you
cool.
are all over the board like that. I like that. What are you going to do for Doctor Who? You going to dress up as a doctor or are you going to dress up as one of his companions?
Probably Doctor. I'll do with Doctor Who. I kind of want to try to do. I know it's very kind of typical, but a sexy version of a Doctor Who. And I think it's going to be the 11th Doctor, but because I have this material that's like perfect tweed jacket looking, and I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool as a
Oh,
Doctor.
that's great.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to try and do that version, but more feminine and pretty and, you know, like sexy Doctor Time Lord. So
You should be a ginger doctor because he always wanted to be ginger. You know?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, not ginger. I always like that. Oh, it's
So,
nice.
what would you say is your favorite part about getting into costume?
The finished product, to see everything together Because when I'm making, like, for instance, when I was making the Yoko costume and I was gluing on all those little studs on my belt, I was like, this is annoying and boring. And it doesn't even look cute. Like, I'm sitting there putting it on, I'm like, God, I hope this looks okay. But it isn't until everything kind of comes together, you know, and you put everything together that you're like, oh my God, everything worked out perfect. It looks great. It looks exactly how you envisioned it. So I think my favorite part definitely is to have everything from, like, wig to contacts, makeup, outfit, boots, everything is my favorite part, because for me, it's like, it's that actress in me that loves to just transform into a different character. So I love seeing the end result of what I've accomplished.
It's really cool to kind of see yourself becoming something that you're not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always been fascinated with that side of things, so that's really awesome.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I got into acting, was because I loved being a different character, and you know, different types of acting, like, you know, the scary and the cutesy and the dramatic and, you know, comedy, like all those different ones have always intrigued me. So I always try to make sure that I'm well-rounded, instead of just being like one, like, oh, I'm just a dramatic actress, like I only like to do dramatic pieces. It's like, for me, I like just the whole, all of it, really, you know, like being funny is great, you know, it lightens the mood, and then to be able to be taken seriously, yeah, you have to do those dramatic pieces. So, you know, you got to be a well-rounded person, and I kind of take that into my cosplay as well.
Cool.
So continue on, you know, with your costume here and everything like that. You know, I'm sure you know you get your hair done, you do makeup and everything like that. But have you ever done anything for your eyes? You know, because colored contacts, anything like that?
I do. I go the whole 9 yards. I see what color their eyes are, how their makeup is done. I will try and copy, you know, if she's wearing blue eyeshadow, you gotta have the blue eyeshadow. If she's got crazy demon eyes, you gotta have the crazy demon eyes. Like, for me, yeah, I always try and do, you know, stuff with my eyes, because, especially in photography, as a model, you really want to set, like, the best part of the photo, I feel, when you're doing a person, is if you can capture their face, and their eyes usually tell everything, whether they're sad or happy or whatever. So you really have to make sure that that is the focal point of the picture when you're in it. So, for instance, like my Graceful Gale, which is the Dark Harbor character, I have full eye scleras, so my entire eye is covered with a contact that is almost completely blacked out, with the exception of a few, like, black veins that make me look like I'm just, you know,
creepy.
Yeah, super creepy. I love it. And, you know, it was a pain to kind of put those in, because personally, it was my first time ever wearing full, you know, it's different from just putting it on the irises. This thing is on your entire eyeball. So, you know, trying to put it in makes it like, okay. And then it feels weird, and it's thicker than regular contact. So it definitely takes a while to get used to, but totally makes the character worthwhile. Like, whenever I get up and close to people at Dark Harbor and they look at me in the face and they're just like, oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, with theater, I know you really have to over-exaggerate your features to become a character. Is it the same with cosplay and photographing that? Or do you pretty much just kind of normally do it?
It depends. Again, with most, I feel, photo shoots, you have to put it on heavy, like makeup-wise, but not necessarily stage heavy. It depends on the character. Like, for instance, my Treasure Cat definitely had a lot of exaggerated makeup.
Right.
Because with that photo shoot too, I had a mask I was competing with. So if my eyes didn't, like, the mask would have consumed everything if I didn't have elaborate, drawn-out eyes to help kind of balance that out.
You don't want to lose your features, so. Sorry, I talk with my hands.
Whereas Yoko, she was more subtle, you know, like, she just needs to look like a girl that just is a pretty girl, basically. So you don't have to necessarily do anything elaborate or exaggerated. You just need to do basically beauty makeup, which is, you know, day, not over exaggerating. So it really depends on your character, and also like what you're doing. With photography, depending on your lighting, you have to go thicker or darker. If you're going to a Comic-Con, you may not necessarily have to do all of that extreme, because people are going to be able to see you up close and personal. So it's not the same.
Do you do all your own makeup, or do you have to have somebody do it for you?
I do all my own makeup. Although the Beetlejuice one that I had talked about, I have a friend, a makeup artist friend, who is more than willing to do the makeup for me. So it's going to be all out Beetlejuice with the white eyes and green and the moss. So
I can't wait to see that.
I'll have fun with that. So I'm excited. I'm like crossing my fingers that I can make it happen, because I'd like to try and get it done like right around Halloween time, you know, like
Yeah.
for that. So
What does cosplay mean to you? Cosplay. Wow, I am not good with that word too. I mess it up how many times?
it's
Wow. So what does it mean to you? You've told us why you've gotten into it, but there's got to be like, I don't know, it comes from your heart type thing. You know, what do you enjoy about it the most? You know, why do you continue doing it type deal?
I really feel like cosplay is just a great way, especially for me, to be very creative, to kind of, to me, it's almost like an extension of my acting, because with an actor, they give you a script, they're like, we want you to be so-and-so who lives, you know, you embody a character when you take a script or you take a particular, you know, character on in a movie, short, web series, whatever it is. With cosplay, it's the same thing, like, except for, I don't know, you get to even be more creative because you're in charge of like your costume, what you want to be. Like, you're not just auditioning for a part that somebody else created for you. You're like, no, I want to be Psylocke today. No, I want to be Yoko today. So, you know, you get to make the costume, you get to do the makeup, you know, you get to walk around and embody this character. And it's just a great way to be creative, keep my skills up. Yeah, and to me, it's just so much fun to be able to do that instead of photo shoots and really see the end product. It makes me proud when I see a really good photo that I took and am able to present it to everybody, to be like, cool, look what I did today. And either you like it or you don't, but in the end of the day, I'm happy with it. And anything that you see on my Facebook page, I've either edited myself or, I mean, I've approved it. I like it. So it's like, here you go, here's me. This is what I love. This is the picture I love the best. You know, that's my opinion. People have their own, but at the end of the day, it makes me happy. I get to be creative, and it's fun to be a character for a couple of hours, you know, out of your normal day. So
That's really cool.
So would you say that when you go to like the conventions, would you say that like, okay, you go to convention, this is your hobby time? You know, when you're doing the photo shoot, is that your work time? Do you feel like it's like that, or is it always fun no matter which way you go there?
well, it's always fun, definitely. Like, I love going to conventions, and the funny thing is not even to dress up and go. Like, I will go in plain clothes to a convention, but it's, for me, when I go to a convention, I have fun because I like all the stuffed animals and the little like cool artsy crafties nerd stuff that you can't get like in stores. And, you know, and then of course you see all the other people that are dressed up and they're really cool costumes. And then photo shoot time is fun because you're like, yay, I'm the star today. You feel confident, you feel great. I think it's just, I always find it to be fun. I mean, that part of it, yes, is work because, you know, the setting up the shoot, getting ready for it, finding a photographer, finding, you know, everything that you do. I mean, especially with the photo shoot aspect of it, it's definitely, I guess, considered more work. Where a convention, you're like, well, the costume's here, or I don't even have to wear costume. I'm just going to have fun and meet new people. So yeah, that would be the only difference. But I mean, it's really fun all around. And if you don't enjoy what you're doing, even if it's work, then, you know, it's just like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about work because it sucks, you know. Like, I like to talk about my work because for me, it's really fun to be able to do that stuff and like show, like even when I first figured out how to sew, I was like, oh my God, like, look what I made. I was showing everyone. And like, that's great, Jen, you know, because I've been doing it forever. Because I had to start basically taking pieces and altering them, you know, like, oh, this would work for so-and-so's character. And then I got to cut it up and resew it or alter it so it fits me. So to be able to create something from nothing is really cool. It makes me feel like really happy. Like it's fun.
Well, people say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So it sounds like you've kind of managed to take that on. That's really cool.
Yeah. But I still have to work because, you know, I got to pay for cosplay.
Yeah, money's important.
Yeah.
So you're talking about. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, okay. Has there ever been a character you wanted to cosplay, but for some reason it didn't work out?
No, it hasn't worked out, but more like has been almost like a roadblock. Like I haven't really ventured into like craft foam, because I would like to really do characters with like armor, like you know, like League of Legends characters or World of
You
Warcraft
should dress up
characters.
as Leona.
Video game characters with like really cool armor pieces. And I cannot tell you how many tutorials I've watched online and Googled it, and actually went to, there's a store in Burbank that sells only foam. It's called Foam Mart, and they've got
Oh, wow.
foam and this and that. And I've actually been in there and looked at pieces that I need and what to buy. And yeah, I just haven't had a chance. Yes, it makes me nervous because you're spending money on materials that you don't want to mess up, because you're
Right.
like, you know, working on a project that is within a budget, you know, you can't afford to mess it up. So for me right now, I'm more comfortable with just the sewing and the crafting and putting together stuff. Where like the foam armor, you know, it takes a little bit more money, takes a little bit more time, and something that you don't want to mess up. Especially for me, I hate messing stuff up, because then it's like I'll probably start crying and throw it across the room and leave it alone for a week. So I really just want to make sure I know what I'm doing when I dive into that kind of stuff. So it's not necessarily something that's gone wrong, but more like like a roadblock, like something I'm like, okay, I want to do this character, but I can't because of the armor that she's wearing. I'm not ready to take that on yet, but I will, because I have been, you know, gearing myself up, kind of learning everything I can to be able to do it. So.
Talking more about your costumes then, you know, you said it sounds like you basically like to make your own, you know, instead of having somebody else do it for you, you know, you would like to have your hands into it and everything like that, you know. Is there anything you really like to work with, like one fabric? You know, I always make everything out of silk, you know. No, I don't.
I can see it from you, totally.
Yeah, I do.
So,
I love it.
just regular knit, because it's the easiest to sew with a machine or by hand. Doing Psylocke, I've had the pleasure of working with, you know, like that stretchy two-way material, like the jersey knit type stuff.
Okay.
So I learned that I needed like a different kind of needle on my machine and all of this stuff. And it's not easy to sew straight or to make sure that it actually punctures through because of the stretchiness of it. So it's like I said, for me, I'm always learning something new. Like I had no idea I needed to do all that. You just assume that just because someone's wearing something less. I picked Psylocke too because A, I've been a fan, and two, I'm like, oh, that'll be an easy costume to make. She just has a bodysuit, some armbands, leg bands. It actually turned out to be one of the harder costumes because of the type of material it was. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so don't look forward to any more spandex stuff from me. At least not for a while. No, but like I said, it was great to learn that stuff. But yeah, I think just like the regular, you know, everyday cotton, you know, material, the knits that you can buy, that you purchase, is the easiest to work with. It's just, yeah.
So then you're dealing
Spandex.
more with fitting it to yourself rather than having to allow for material stretch and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting because, you know, it's supposed to be skin tight on you. So it's just like you have to sew it where it's almost exact to your body. That way it like clings to you. Or like when for me, when I'm making other clothes, I can make it like an inch or two bigger. And that way it's like, okay, you put it on and you can take it in or out, you know, the 2 inches
Right.
of the one. Where like this is like, if you're not, it's not the same. You have to really be exact with it. So I had to keep putting the suit on and be like, okay, this is not working. Okay, the color's not working. So, yeah, it was a big pain in the butt.
Wow. So do you always make your own costumes, or do you buy certain aspects of those?
I make my own costumes. I won't necessarily buy costumes, but I will buy pieces to create the costume. I also, because being in the industry of acting, I know seamstresses and tailors who are also trying to get their work out there. So I will gladly, if they have a costume for me to wear, I will gladly photo shoot with it and, you know, put their name right on it. Like I have, you know, it's about helping each other. So, you know, like for instance, Steampunk Treasure Cat was created by Katie Brisbos, KB Costumes. She did an amazing job with it, and she was more than willing to be like, yes, please photo shoot with this costume. So that one I didn't make,
That's
she
cool.
made that, but I mean, it was an amazing costume. Why would I not want to put that on and like
Absolutely.
like creepy with the mask and, you know, it was a
So
great
it's not
take on
just
the character.
it's not just everybody out there for him or herself. You guys kind of make a community together and work together. That's really cool.
Yeah, I always want to help people out, and if they can help me out, that's great. And, I always give people credit where it's due. So if the costume's not mine, it'll be on there saying this costume was made by so-and-so. This photography was by whoever, like you really, in order to get, everyone's name out there, you got to put it on there. You got to work like that. Because I know some people are like, oh, I forgot to put the photographer's name on there. And it's like, oh, well, they took the time to shoot with you, you
Right.
should at least give them the credit that it deserves. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
So it sounds like you put a lot of heart into your costumes and everything like that. So your friend comes up to you and says, "Hey, can I borrow that for a weekend out?" What's your response there? Do you share your costumes with anybody?
If they can fit into it, yes. They they have to promise me that, they'll take care of it, be respectful. If it's something I've made, if someone asks who made it, just say, oh, my friend Jennifer made it, or, go to her Facebook page, or, I just want to make sure that the credit is given. So, if someone wanted to borrow the steampunk treasure cat, then I'd be like, yeah, Katie made it, let me check with Katie, make sure it's cool with her. And then if anyone asks, that's who made it. So I personally don't have a problem with it, but a lot of the costumes are fitted to me. So like I said, the main issue is if you can fit into my costume, by all means.
So
Just
you're
no
saying
alterations.
I have no chance then. I was really looking forward to that whole vampire get up. I was going to put it on. And
Stretchy, so you might be able to work with that.
Halloween, here I come.
I know. And I mean, the bodice is a lace front, so you can just like loosen it up in the front. I'm sure it'll fit.
Oh, God. Wow, that went a lot deeper than I ever thought. Wow. Let's move on to the now I can't get her to stop laughing. She's imagining me wearing all this.
Okay.
All right. Let's just move into the next part here because this is going way too far. All right. So we saw some of your fighting, some of your sword play, and everything like that. What got you into that? How'd you start doing that part of what you do?
I gratefully fell into that, honestly. I have a dance background, so I've danced for many years. And what happened was I got a job at Universal Studios in Hollywood as it's from the movie Zorro. So I played Catherine Zeta-Jones's character, Elena. And there was a show there that they needed sword fighting. And there aren't a ton of girls that know how to sword fight that also look like Catherine Zeta-Jones or similar to her. So they take people who have a dance background because it's all choreography. So if you can pick up choreography good, and you're not just swinging it around, like safety is obviously the biggest issue out of anything. Like just because they choose a girl and she's not following the safety the safety rules of it, then they will like, no, sorry, we can't approve you in this character. So, with everything aside, that's kind of how I fell into it. So I just went and auditioned. They taught you a really quick, combo with the sword against a partner, and then they pick you from there. So I was grateful and lucky enough to get picked and started fighting. So I learned that. And then my partner who played Zorro, he actually he's the director, owner, creator of Warrior Showdown. And so he was like, oh, we have this character that would be really great if you wanted to do it. Because when I first started, I'm not going to lie, I was probably pretty terrible, but with a lot of practice and doing show after show after show, you learn your stuff. And so after probably about a year, he was like, you've been doing so well, you've been doing great, you pick up choreography so quick, and you know how to, basically, and I mean, people make mistakes. So he's like, you make a mistake, you just move on. You don't stop the show, and you just go with it and you keep moving. So that's really good. So he invited me to be one of his characters, which is the Elven Huntress in his web series. And so I just learned how to fight. And from there, it was like, oh, I do this. And so that's how I ended up doing the upcoming vampire fight. Like, it's just basically a network of like, oh, I saw you do this, you'd be great for that. And even from there, I got a role in a movie because they saw me fighting as the Elven Huntress. They're like, wow, your skills are great. We need a girl that can do this kind of stuff. So it was I was so lucky to fall into it. But yeah, I mean, it was all pretty much just luck. And, my ability to pick up choreography was key, but it was really just luck how I fell into that.
That's really cool. Well, I mean, you say you must have been pretty terrible starting out, but if you got picked, then you must have had some natural talent
Yeah.
there. Would you say that your history gaming helped you with that?
No, a little bit. Like I said, it all just comes from somebody that could pick up the choreography like that. So basically, they teach you points, how to parry, and your marks. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they'll teach you to do that really fast. And basically, the girls that can pick up on it get called back, and then from there, they put the wig on you, they put the costume on you. They actually teach you a small routine to do with a partner. And then if you pick that up even faster, then, that's when you get picked. So,
Okay, so it's more dancing than actual fighting moves.
no, it was definitely fighting moves, but
Was it?
it was, yeah, it's complicated because you need foot. It's also like, it's not just wielding your upper body with the sword. It is also your footwork. You have to know how to move your feet. You got to know how to move your body. You have to act in a way, because obviously it's not real. So you need to know how to move to make it look like you're really striking that person, and it looks like you're fighting. So all of that takes, it's like acting, dancing, and then part of it also too is the knowing of the sword fighting and stage combat. Like you have to know your stuff as well.
Cool.
But when I just had dance, so I was just like, I got the feet part, and I know my marks I'm supposed to hit, and so that's all I knew. And then from there, I started picking up more like terminology, more advanced stuff that had I just, I would never have learned if I didn't actually really enjoy doing it.
That's awesome.
So I'm getting some bad feedback. Sorry about that. So I'm here looking at this Warrior Showdown site and everything, and you said you're the Elven Huntress?
Yes.
All right, now how does this work? How do you win your fight?
So winning is based on popular vote. I guess I need more friends, but no, it's based on popular vote, and it's free. There's no signing up. There's no submitting emails. You basically just go to warriorshowdown.com, and the only catch is that you have to vote for every character. So when the round 1 was up, it had listed everybody, and you just, click on who you wanted to win. So it was like Valkyrie versus Samurai. So, you'd pick Valkyrie, I want the Musketeer to win, I want Elven Huntress to win, I want the Viking to win. So you just picked all the people that you wanted to win, then you hit submit, and then it tallies the votes. And you can only do it once, so it's not like constant voting, because I would just sit on my computer all day and vote for myself. Because I want to win, but I unfortunately couldn't do that, so I had to really bother all of my friends.
Oh,
and annoy
all right.
Constant updates of please vote for me, please vote for me, please vote for me. So
all right, guys,
for the first round.
You heard it here. I want you all to go to this Warrior Showdown site, and I need you all to vote for the Elven Huntress. I'm sorry, the Elven Huntress. Do it now. Do it before you forget. Well, wait until after the show, then do it. All right, moving on.
So you must have to keep a pretty strict exercise regimen to stay at the top of your game, pun intended. What would you say, how do you do that to be able to continue to do your own stunts? What kind of exercise program do you follow?
Well, I basically just like to keep myself in good shape, not just necessarily for fighting, but also for like cosplay stuff. And, as an actor in LA, image is everything out here, I'm not saying that you have to be a certain type, but just for instance, like my genre, I'm a younger girl, I need to be in slimmer shape because that's, I guess, the character I choose to be. Like, you can be any size, you can be any shape, you can be any ethnicity out here. You just need to find like your thing. So my thing right now with the modeling and the acting, I just choose to be in shape. And so I work out all the time. I work out probably 4, 5, 6 days out of the week. Allowing myself at least one day to rest.
Okay.
Yeah, with
at least one.
with rehearsals coming, like I start my first rehearsal for Warrior Showdown round 2 tomorrow. No matter what you do, it's weird. It's like whenever you try something new or when you work out for the first time, you're completely sore in areas that you're like, oh, I normally work out like really well, and you're like, I didn't know that was a muscle right there. So yeah, pretty much on Wednesday I'm hoping I can still walk, even though like I work out all the time. it's just one of those things that, because the last fight I shot was last year, so to keep up with like just my shape and figure, you know, I work out. But then once I get the weapon in my hand, it's a completely different type of muscles that I'm using, a completely different kind of workout. So workout routine wise for fighting, there isn't any until you start rehearsals, because basically if you've ever done any type of stage combat or sword fighting, it is a workout in itself. So yeah, to be able to do that, you just got to keep up with it. You have to always be rehearsing that kind of stuff. We're always taking classes just to keep up with what I do. I just work out. I do cardio. You know, I do light calisthenics just to keep myself toned and in shape. But yeah, Wednesday will be an interesting day for me. So,
Thanks.
and that's
So,
very good. So I need to make sure that I get everything right.
I'm sure you'll get everything right. Anyway, you yeah, exactly. So out of all these fights that you've choreographed and everything, what has been your favorite to do so far?
Fighting wise?
Yeah.
Probably my Elven Huntress fight, because there was a lot of cool things that I've never done before. Like the guy who, TJ, who was the creator and everything, he's the one that choreographs these fights. He makes sure safety is in place. But he had me doing some stuff that I had never done before. Like I actually learned how to dual wield with two swords just for that fight alone. So that's, I mean, I was doing stuff I'd never done before, which was so cool. He had me doing stunts on there. Like there's a particular part where, you know, his shield had dropped. So I run up the shield, run up his back, sit on him and flip him over my shoulder. It was like the coolest. Yeah, it's
That's awesome.
So, you know, it was really cool to be able to do that kind of stuff that I'd never done before. So that was probably definitely my most favorite fight to date. But I'm interested to see what he's got in store for us tomorrow. So I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say? Oh, sorry. What would you say is your favorite weapon that you've used so far?
Oh, definitely the one from the Elven Huntress fight. That is a one-of-a-kind weapon. It is two blades together that act as a bow and arrow. So there is that aspect of it. So I can shoot arrows from it. I can fight with it like a staff because it's bladed. And then when I get really upset, I break it into two. And then it is two scimitar swords. So cool. And then, yeah, he had a guy particularly make that. I don't remember the name of who he got to make it, but when he told me about it, I like flipped out and freaked out. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm gonna shoot these arrows and fight with like a staff. And oh, I was so excited.
It sounds like you have Hit Girl's weapon from Kick-Ass mixed with like this medieval huntress. That's so cool.
I know. And the funny thing was, he originally wanted to cast me as the Egyptian priestess, because at the time I was doing a character also at Universal. It was an Egyptian mummy guard. So, and I had played a Noxunamun from the movie The Mummy at Universal and all that. So he kind of only seen me as either Elena or this Egyptian. So he's like, oh, we have an Egyptian priestess character. So talking to him about it more, he had mentioned this Elven Huntress character, which is loosely based off, you know, Night and Blood Elves from World of Warcraft. I was like, I'm like, please, I don't know what I have to do, but please can I be the Elven Huntress? Because I just wanted to be an elf and had pointy ears, and that was the geeky side of me. And then yeah, I'm glad I did, because the weapon turned out to be the coolest I've ever seen ever. So yeah, good job me for wanting to switch. And thank you, TJ, for letting me switch. So yeah, he was like, yeah, sure, if you want to be that character, that's fine. So he had no problem with switching me around.
So this weapon that they gave you, how is it pretty heavy in that? Because you know it sounds quite complicated.
Yes, it is very heavy. In fact, when I did a behind the scenes shoot for it a couple months later, you know, when your body isn't actively using those things, you know, you forget. So as soon as I picked it up, I was like, oh my god.
You want me to do what?
Yeah, the swords is because they're actually, all of the weapons we use are real weapons. They are dulled, so there are no accidents, but there still is an actual possibility that someone can get very hurt, can get cut. In fact, when I first got a hold of my weapon, because during rehearsals you fight with mock weapons, so they're not real. They're either wood or they're just plastic. So the day I actually got a hold of the weapon, I was trying to be cool, and I did like this swirly thing while it was in staff form, and I actually had cut my leg, that I have a scar today, right there, on my leg.
Oh my goodness.
I went to put it down on the ground, and I missed, and I nicked my leg, and all of a sudden I just saw blood coming from my leggings, and I was like, oh, I think I cut myself.
We got a bleeder.
Terrible.
It's a possibility, and there is the danger of that kind of stuff. So that's why safety is the biggest issue. That's why we can't let you just wield swords around.
Oh.
Oh,
So
please.
even if they're still very dangerous, so you have to be careful with them. So, you know, you have to make sure you know what you're doing.
So
Wait, let's-
is the Elven Huntress weapon kit the most difficult one you've learned so far?
Probably yes, because it was and it's also, it's not a traditional bow. So, you know, I mean, I've shot bows and arrows before, but the definition of a bow is to bend and to give.
Right.
That doesn't-
It is steel, it doesn't bend at all, and it wasn't a proper bowstring. It was like a bungee cord, just in order to make it work. So I'm shooting with a bungee cord and a steel bow, so there's no give, there's no pull. And basically, like, you know, with any shoot, you want it to be real, like right here, like you see in the Hunger Games. But for me, if you watch the video, you'll see I can only pull to like right here. So it kind of looks a little,
Oh wow.
when you watch me doing it. And so I had to completely relearn how to shoot this as arrows. So I had to actually tilt my bow up and have it sit on there, and like it was, and honestly kind of like, instead of holding it like this, I had to hold it more like a pinch and had to pull it back like that. Or if not, it would just go, it would fall straight down.
It sounds a little bit awkward to try and handle.
Yeah, there's a few, I think it's on the behind the scenes of the day of our shoot, where even on the day of, you know, I mean, I had practiced with it like once before, and I don't know if I'm like some idiot savant that was able to work it, but anytime he was like, I need you to shoot me in this like this general area, I was able to do it. But then there was always these few outtakes that, like, as soon as I shot it, it went, and it just fell straight down to the ground. I'm just like, it was so frustrating, but you know, I ended up getting it for the most part, and I was actually amazingly, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but amazingly accurate with the fact that I could barely shoot this thing. So he was really happy with me. So I'm excited to get that weapon back in my hands and start practicing. And that was a problem with the first fight, was because the weapon was specially made, I didn't have it until like 2 days before the fight. So I really had to, basically I've been fighting this whole time with like sticks or wood or plastic or mock weapons. So I didn't really have it in my hand until like 2 days before the shoot. So I had no time to practice with it. Where now this time round too, you know, we always rehearse with mock weapons, but there will be a few rehearsals where I'll have the weapons in my hand. So it'll be nice to actually work with it instead of just being like, okay, here it is, day of the shoot. Good luck with that.
All right. Well, I'm getting told it's time to move on to the next part of our questions here, your gaming history. Tell us about your gaming history, ma'am.
Well, let me see. I started, I guess, gaming or playing video games when I was 9 years old. Santa brought me a Nintendo for Christmas one year, and the rest was history. Yep, played Super Mario Brothers was my first game. Duck Hunt. Yep, those. And I still have that actually back at my parents' house. I still have the working console and gun and the game that goes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ever since then, I was like, this is amazing. So I had like every console. I had my Nintendo 64. I had my PlayStation. I had my PlayStation 2. I had the GameCube. Oh, God, what else did I have? I had like so many different ones. I was like obsessed with it, and like I just loved playing video games. And like now I have my Xbox 360 with Kinect, and I have my PlayStation 3, and yeah, and like right now I'm currently playing Dead Island Riptide, which is okay. I enjoy shooting zombies, but you know, I don't know what I was expecting because I played the first one. So everyone's like, it's the same as the first one. They were right.
They were right. What
Yeah.
would you say is your all-time favorite video game?
Right now, my all-time favorite video game is Skyrim. I love Skyrim. I love the whole medieval aspect of it. I love the fact that they incorporated not just like knights, like humans. They have elves. They have those weird cat-faced people. Like they just had a different genre of characters that you could be. And I love that it was open gameplay. So I mean, you could just go anywhere on the map. You could just run around and kill chickens or do missions or follow the main. I loved all of that. I loved that there was dragons in it. Oh, I loved everything about it. And I still haven't even completely finished the game. Like, I mean, I finished the main storyline and stuff, and then I had to take a break from it because it's like I have been playing this game for like, 3 weeks straight. So, I mean, I have to go back and complete all the little side missions and completely finish it. In fact, I read an article about like just the one person that's like, I finally finished the game. Like everything is done, everything's complete. I've an article circulating around about how, he was like level 200 or something like that, and he finished the entire Skyrim game, which took him forever. And now there's the online version coming out soon, or is it out already? I'm not sure, but
Spring in 2014 is what they're saying.
okay, yeah. So I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna handle all that, but yeah, that was my favorite game ever. It's so great.
Well, speaking of, you did a nice little segue into it. MMOs. Are you currently playing any MMOs? Anything you played recently? World of Warcraft. You mentioned that. You doing that at all?
Yeah, I do. Well, I did play World of Warcraft, and now every Monday night I do. Except for this Monday, I won't because the guy's out of town. But I normally play League of Legends, and that's really I don't know. I kind of tend. I tend to follow more of the mainstream games that are online like that. So yeah, just League of Legends, and then I really liked World of Warcraft, but every time I play League of Legends and talk about it, they just laugh me out of. So all of a sudden I'm getting a lot of like hatred on the chat.
Oh my God, you're right. No.
I like being an elf, okay? That is my dream, and I like to do it, so I will play elf. Anything that has elves, I will play it, okay? Just leave me alone with that.
So she should do a cosplay of Morgana.
Yes.
They just put up a picture on the thing saying, I'm a nerd and I love nerd things. The Elven Huntress.
I love that. I was just like, I love being I'm more of a geek. I find myself to be more geeky than nerdy, because to me, nerdy is more of like, I don't know, I've always had in my head when you're a nerd, you're like super books, like scientists, people that build robots, they have no life because they're in their room playing or being super smart. Where for me, nerdy is like people who have no life but they're like playing video games and into like the geeky and comic books and manga. Like I feel like geek would be better probably suited. Not that I'm stupid, I mean I have a college degree and all that stuff, but I feel like nerd is, for me, has always been reserved for the super smart, the way super smarter people.
Now, you mentioned comics. Are there any that you actively read right now?
I am currently reading American Vampire, which I really loved the artwork because I also believe Stephen King wrote the foreword in that. That's the one I'm currently reading. I like a lot of old school comics, obviously like Marvel and DC and all that. Fables I really liked. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the Grimm Fairy Tales series. Oh, and then the off-spin of that was actually one of my favorites too, was the spin-off from the Grimm Fairy Tales, which was the Alice in Wonderland version of that, Beyond Wonderland and all that. I loved it. I was like, as soon as it came out, I was like, I gotta buy it. Right now, I'm currently reading American Vampire, and I like to get the hardbound books, so they're like nice and it looks collectible. Like I justify the fact that I have them. So I always wait. I won't read the paper ones because I like to wait for the nice graphic novel version and just put it up on my shelf when I'm reading it and I'm done. So, I
Can't believe you're there.
I have ElfQuest. I don't know if anyone reads or used to read those or has read them in the past, but I read ElfQuest and Tintin. The Adventures of Tintin are my favorite. I remember reading those when I was like really, really little. Those were probably like my first comic books that I read.
That is awesome.
So, you're kind of, you're very artistic. We know this. Have you tried drawing any comics yourself? Gone into anything crazy like that?
No, I haven't. I mean, I really would like to. Like, part of me right now hasn't really been able to draw or paint a whole lot, but I'm hoping to change that because like when you work and then you're trying to plan, when you have to kind of do everything yourself, certain things take its toll, where it's like I can't really work on that as much anymore. But I do like to draw. I do like to paint, but I just haven't had time to yet because of the busy schedule I have. I either got to go on audition or you got to work, or I'm working on a cosplay, got to set up a photo shoot, have somewhat of a social life, a little tiny bit. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't really ventured into that yet, but maybe I will. I'll do my own comic book about me.
There you go.
My own.
All right. Well, let's get into our very last question here, and really, it's more of a, you telling us about, what you're doing. Tell us, what projects do you have going on right now? Just, I know you've hit some of them, but just recap what you've got going on for us, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, if there's anybody watching, listening, who lives in the Southern California area, I'm currently doing Dark Harbor. So if you go to my Facebook page, hit me up if you want to come and see. I have a code for discounted tickets if you want to check it out, if you like that kind of stuff. So I've been doing Dark Harbor. Round 2 of Warrior Showdown. I will need everyone's help with that. So rehearsal process is still here. So that's going to be, probably in about a month. I'll be really annoying people about voting for me. I also have a voting site open for me right now, which is the Vampire. It's very similar to Warrior Showdown. Basically, it's except for it's all females, and I play a vampire, and I'm fighting a Lycan. So that is also by popular vote. So the voting is currently open for that, and basically, I won't know who wins until they release the actual fight. So basically, you see, as soon as they release it, I will be just as surprised as you guys if I win or lose. So that's open, and that's at fantasywomenbattles.com. And just basically support my cosplay. I got lots of stuff coming out, lots of ideas I'm working on right now, so I really hope that I can share it with everybody.
Well, we look forward to everything. Yep.
Well, I'm the host of Fan Fanatic every Tuesday, starting on the 15th. Please watch.
See that? We were about to go and yell that out, and she did it for us. Good job, ma'am. Good job. That's at 7 o'clock, October 15th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, folks. So set your clocks properly. And I'm being told that it's with Kira Miku and Paige Belmont. So it's time to wrap this up, folks. I want to thank, first we'll thank Evane, we'll thank Dash and Liette in the background helping us with us, and definitely very special thanks to Jennifer Kairis for us. Once again, join her again October 15th for Fan Fanatic at 7 Central. Thank you, folks. Have a good evening.